Yo, so gigantic. My god, this game. I have waited 6 years to play this game again. Do you want a sales pitch? Nah, here, elevator pitch first. It's like Overwatch, but good. Actually, no, that doesn't do it justice. It's like all the best parts of Overwatch when it was in its prime, Paladins during its movement meta, and Smite when you're in a neck-and-neck arena match. It's got moves like you'd find in Battleborn, Dota 2, and League, and a mentality in the approach to combat I can only describe as a mix between Guilty Gear and a schizophreniac's nursing home. And on top of that, an approach to classes that says to hell with the Holy Trinity, we rock in the Guild Wars 2 PvP philosophy, with a gameplay loop that actually is interactive with objectives that actually make sense, that you can change up at will to actually alter not just the flow of the game but also the way you interact with the map itself. Speaking of those maps, they change, like literally open up a new part of the playground for you and your fellow kids to go play in and block off old parts as the game goes on, like there's a hungry pit bull in there looking for munchies. There are choke points, there are back alleys, there's an actual sense of verticality to these arenas, and you can actually move around in them fast. And I mean like fast, like you just pulled some frickin' Usaino no Bolto no Jutsu or something and snorted a line of flour. And that's not just on the ground, mind you. There are a multitude of ways to maneuver in the air depending on whatever character you are, though if your character you're playing isn't quite as adept at taking to the skies, they tend to have their own shenanigans on the ground, or has something that lets them spec into aerial mobility later. There's a whole branching skill system of this game for each character, for each ability, twice. What I mean by that is once each team's got their side of the map moving, they start hunting for focus, points they can use to either affect objectives on the map more and more, or that they can use to affect themselves, allowing for you to use your ultimate at higher tiers, forcing you to consider if you trust yourself enough to land a game-turning ult, or if you should play for and reinforce a stronger map presence. Every time you level up, each ability on each character, including the ultimate, can be given an upgrade, which then that upgrade can be upgraded upon again, locking out of the other upgrade path each time, so you actually have to think about your choices every time you make them, hosting a total of 30 possible upgrades for every character. And these ain't no dinky little upgrades either. Here you have a grenade. In most games, an upgrade would be something like 10% more explosive damage, and just be a linear improvement system, if even that. However, here in Gigantic, upgrades also tend to come with the side grade. So, for example, that upgrade in Gigantic would look a little more like, do you want to crack armor or leave behind a puddle of acid? And on top of that, do you want the explosion to be bigger, or would you like it to turn into an impact grenade? Or do you want the poison to last longer, making any fight in a choke point and gets lobbed on a horrendous idea? Or would you like it so that using your jetpack basically resets your grenade cooldown? And this is just one upgrade tree for one ability for probably the most simple and straightforward character in the entire game. Let me give you a rundown of a handful of these characters, starting with this simpleton I've been yammering about. How do I even describe this ketamine snorting pincushion? She's kind of like if you took Farrah and McCree, or whatever his name is now, and you know what? No, that's wrong. Scratch that. She's like if you took Artificer and Commando from Risk of Rain 2, mixed them with Bangalore, gave her the rocket launcher from Halo and the Zukovs from Deep Rock, then let her move through the air like she has a couple wax quails strapped to a jetpack, gave her Gyrocopter's ult, and then gave her the dash from Armored Core 2. This is one of the characters in this game. This is the simplest character in this game. Oh, I should also mention, just about every dodge here feels like they mixed light rolling from Dark Souls 3 with the speed of wave dashing. Another character would be this Goober, who I can only really compare to a mix of the Fireflower from Super Mario, Mog, Lord of Blood, and Arendi from Battleborn, which, yeah. Then there's someone like Taido, HK, Imani, Trip, Mozu, and the Great Holy Gya. And all the characters in this game play exactly like how they look like they would play. Even this goofy little goop grubber, and there's a lot of them, and they all play uniquely. I think the person who put it best would be Shammy, stating that this is a hero shooter that actually utilizes the first half of that genre name. Where a lot of hero shooters put a whole lot more emphasis on the shooter aspect of the gameplay, almost trying to lean it closer to something more like Siege of Valorant, Gigantic leans far heavier towards the hero aspect of this game, putting far more emphasis on the wacky abilities. Though, with that said, another thing to mention would be melee, or rather the fact that this game actually has it. There are entire characters dedicated solely to melee in this game, not just their base attacks, but their entire kit revolving around the specific way that character plays. This is where the other main genre of this game comes in. MOBAs, where most hero shooters tend to go for the ADC or hard carry approach when it comes to characters, designing their abilities in context to the main gameplay being some variation of the basic attack. Gigantic opts to go for designing a unique attack for each and every character designed alongside and meant to meld with that character's kit. rather than having right click, left click, left click, left click, and then, ooh, sometimes I get to press Q. I get to press Q, E, gotta dash this way, auto attack, Alt, E again, which gives me an opening to either dive in head first or get away unpunished. In MOBA terms, it's far more like playing someone like Timbersaw or Aurelion Sol rather than Drow Ranger or Jax. And that's not where the MOBA inspiration ends. The game revolves around objectives, team fights, power circles, and guardian rampages being these three main focal points. Team fights are pretty self-explanatory. They're teams and you fight, but in practice this plays out far more like in a MOBA than a traditional hero shooter, where not everyone needs to show up for the fight. Skirmishes break out all over the place all the time. The winning team gets to rush down wherever they want on the map, and having a 4 versus 5 could actually turn out to be a huge benefit to the underadvantaged team, since that straggling player could be rushing down the next main objective. Power circles are where you can summon different creatures to do different things. Some of them can heal you, some of them build walls, some of them generate mucho damage, some of them give you wall hacks, and so on and so forth. These creatures are what can make or break the game, so it's always a tug-of-war to have as many of them as you can, since they're the thing that maintains your team's map control, lets you use your ult faster, and, more importantly, killing enemy creatures readies up an arms race to see which team's warhead gets launched first. The third main objective are the Guardians, or more specifically, the Guardian Rampages. Your Guardian is your home base, your turret and safe haven in case you really need to retreat, your respawn point, as well as your actual announcer in the game. It is also the literal beating heart of your team, as well as that previously mentioned ballistic missile. A Guardian Rampage happens when one team has generated enough points, allowing their Guardian to rush across the map and pin the other down, exposing its heart in the process. Here, you can rush down and whack as much damage into it as you can while fending off the enemy team. Your Guardian itself takes away a chunk of the other's health when it pins them down. If your team successfully eradicates the health bar, congrats, you've taken out one of their 3 lines. If you couldn't finish off that health bar, don't worry, because after the next pin or 2 your Guardian gets on the other, it is a guaranteed lopped off health bar, effectively meaning the game could be over in the first 3 rampages, or it could go back and forth a whole bunch of times if no one attacks the heart, leaving the victorious team's Guardian with only a sliver of a single health bar remaining. That doesn't mean the longer games are a drag though, not that they'll ever go to that length, as both sides will still be leveling up, getting new ability alterations, and just making fights more of a constant and far more of a hectic mess. A standard game usually used to last around 10 to 15 minutes, though if it really went the distance, it wouldn't last any longer than 20 or 30. Though with the new game mode they've made, the matches tend to be around 5 to 10 minutes. Not that you'll be keeping track of time though, what with half the map getting blocked off halfway through the game, opening up a whole new area for you to fight, and that with how incredibly fluid the movement is, and just how many different things the match is going to have you keep on juggling, but hey. This game is played at a breakneck pace. Its movement plays tight, yet the combat is played as slippery and as loose as a goose on a noose tied to a moose. The death cooldown time is about 5 seconds, with a long time to kill in extremely small maps, making you earn every kill you get. And above all, it is tailored to be played for the sheer enjoyment of the game. Also, no microtransactions. I rarely get to play a match of almost any other online game where I'm having this much fun this consistently, even while losing. All I can say is I'm so glad to have my favorite multiplayer game back, and I'm incredibly excited for people to finally experience this stellar gem that they missed out on 6 years ago. You can go wishlist it on Steam right now. Apparently there will be fully functional crossplay, so Xbox 2 as well as PlayStation. It comes out on April 9th, and it'll be a $20 upfront purchase with all its cosmetics and progression in the game without any microtransactions, so hey, if you like the way Helldivers 2 has been approaching their monetization, not beating you over the head with buy, money, you know, actually treating you like a conscious human being, then you'll probably be a big fan of the way they're approaching it here. Thanks for watching, have a great day, and I hope to see you again very, very soon. Take care.